Jerry Baiden for Guitar YouTube, and this is about what the difference is between a dominant 7 sus and a dominant 11th. This is coming from a guitarist perspective. When you learn about a suspended chord, you take the third of the major chord and you raise it to a 4. And then on a dominant 7, you got to have a minor 7 in there somewhere, but no third. It's called a sus because the chord itself is not major or minor until you resolve it to the third. To me, when you use the term sus, that should mean that the fourth, when you resolve it to a third, it should become what the chord implies to begin with, which is a dominant 7 chord, right? Because it says dominant 7 sus. So you resolve the 4 down to a third, it should be a dominant 7, where you have a root, third, fifth, and a minor 7, and that's it. I'm going to demonstrate, the dominant 7 sus, and I'm going to resolve it, and then it becomes a dominant 7. So this is A7 sus. Right. Okay. And then okay. But a dominant 11th, and here's the difference. When you resolve the 4th, which is the 11th in this case, and you resolve it, it becomes a 9th or a 13th. Did you ever notice that? I'm going to play a dominant 11th, but when I resolve that 4 down to a third, it's not a dominant 7. It's a dominant 9th, typically, on both. When I'm rooting a dominant 11th from the E string, low E string, and I drop that 4th down to a third, it's not a dominant 7. And then when I play the dominant 11th off of the A string, and then I take that 4th, which actually is a 4th in this case, not really an 11th, and I drop that, it becomes a dominant 9, not a dominant 7. To me, that's the difference between those two chords. If you're going to call something a dominant 7 sus, make sure when you drop that 4 down to a third, it's just a dominant 7 chord. Not a 9, not a 13, just a dominant 7. So if you are playing something like, to me, a dominant 11, I hear that all the time, everywhere. Typically, they're not playing a dominant 7 sus. To me, they're playing a dominant 11 because I can hear that voicing, right? And then when you drop that third, it's still not a 7. It is a 7th chord, but it's a 9th. It'll have a 9th in it, or a 9 and a 13. Jerry Baiden for Guitar YouTube. Thank you. Again.